Hello everyone, this is Karlichan, and here with me is the mid laner of Dignitas, Scarra. So not the best performance by you yesterday. Can you tell us what went wrong in those games?
A lot of things, to say the least. I think everything went wrong. I think the first game actually wasn't as bad as it looked. The biggest thing that happened first game was that we went in with the wrong game plan because of just certain things that happened in scrims. I had to play a lot differently than I'd like, especially against Froggen, and we tried a different strategy the first game that didn't work out. Generally, we just got our bot lane camped and we didn't respond accordingly at all. And then at the 7-minute blue buff on our side, what happened was I knew Froggen was coming in for it. We had pre-warded it with a trinket ward, and I went to QE it on Gragas to burst it at 500 health. I pressed Q and then I pressed E multiple times, and I realized I was sitting at 69 mana, 70 mana out of 75. And by the time it went to 74, 73, Froggen had already stolen it in the blue buff, which was crucial for us to control the game. And as soon as that happened, my jungler was 2 levels behind Shook, and they could just 2v1 middle push 2 turrets. And there was literally nothing we could do off that. And then after that, I performed really poorly because I just got insta-gib because I didn't look at my position carefully enough around the least cocoons. So I got insta-gibbed in the next 2 fights, where the first fight we definitely could have won with a good Gragas ult, and even the second fight, if I got a Gragas ult or any abilities off, we probably would have been standing a good chance, even being that far behind. We just got outplayed from pretty much every conceivable angle, though. Although the mistakes I'm talking about are the crucial mistakes of the game, we also got outplayed, I feel like, individually, and just with a general idea of coming into this game, they had a different plan than us, and they just executed their plan a lot better than we executed ours.
I talked to Taps yesterday, and he told me that he thinks that you couldn't scout them well. Was that the case?
In how they played, yeah. It was impossible to scout Alliance because we didn't scrim them and we didn't ask anyone about them. But in terms of their champion picks, we knew what they would play, almost perfectly. Minus maybe we messed up bans and picks around one thing, but just generally our strategy going in and our execution of our strategy was very poor. So, I mean, yeah, they crushed us 2-0, but a lot of that wasn't on them playing extremely well, but us playing a lot worse than they did, which is nothing to take away from them. I feel like it's probably going to be the most one-sided game you'll see in the next year, maybe.
You announced QKid playing only for Battle of the Atlantic before. Is he staying, or are you going to hold tryouts for the support role?
We haven't really talked about roster changes so much. I feel like personally that the roster is fine. I think a lot of what came into our mistakes were just mental problems, and just generally our focus on the game has shifted. We used to win a lot based on certain ways, and I feel like we've shifted the importance of what our team is good at. I feel like we strayed away from what our team was good at and tried to play stuff that other teams were good at. And I think that above all else, that and I just feel like that's the reason why we haven't been performing as well as we have before. I think that we're changing our practice regimen. We're flying in an analyst starting in January of next year, and we're going to be boot camping pretty hard for LCS. I feel like with those things, as well as changing our schedule, a roster change isn't really necessary, but it's certainly something we haven't talked about yet.
What do you think about TGNA coming to take Velocity spot? Are they going to make it into the NA LCS?
Anything could happen. Honestly, the only impressive amateur team we were playing was Quantic. I think Quantic was by far the best amateur team we played against. But unfortunately, they choked, and so they're no longer a possibility. After that, EGNA, we scrimmed them when they first got here, and they weren't too great. But they have 9 or so days after that time to be able to work on team synergy. So I would say they have a decent chance of doing it. I don't really see why they couldn't win. I just don't know. That's it.
Do you think the European players and Korean players coming to NA improve the competition there?
Oh yeah, of course. I think better players moving to a region always improve the competition, at least in some perspective. I'm sure Bjergsen moving to NA has improved like mid lane talent, although it's not necessarily too obvious. It's something that would take like time to actually like go through, and one person can't do it alone. But if let's say a lot of talent moved into NA from other regions, it would be nice very nice at least for talent to prosper in North America. Sorry.
And if that trend continues, are you worried that maybe the veteran NA teams may get their LCS spots threatened?
I feel like as long as there's a region lock enforced in the fact that the team has to live in the States, I don't really care. Like I'm all for better competition. Like maybe I'd think differently if like the entire OGN moved over to NA, or the entire ELCS, or the entire Chinese LPL moved to NA. But currently I really don't see a problem with teams moving to NA. As long as they commit to living here, I have no problems with that.
Were you surprised by the results of the group stage of the promotion tournament in NA, like Complexity and Quantic not making it?
Yeah, I was surprised that Quantic didn't make it. But after playing them for a long time, they're probably our most consistent scrim partner. We had already known that they choked quite a lot. I wouldn't say choke quite a lot, but they tend to have problems after losing one game. Like they tend to snowball their problems into the next game, and so they're a team that really needs like a break after a set of games to be able to perform better. And what happens was they had scheduled to play all 3 games consecutively on Saturday, and so after the first loss, I'm sure that like mentally crushed them, and then the next 2 they weren't able to recover because they didn't have a break. I strongly feel like had their schedule been differently, they would have been able to end up 3-2 or even 4-1.
Which teams do you think will qualify or re-qualify for the NA LCS?
I think Coast will requalify. I think Curse will also requalify. It's the last spot that I'm a little bit unsure about. Like I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there. I think it's funny that Rengar is banned again, so Westrise can't play one of his champions. But aside from that, I really would just flip a coin for that matchup.
Anything you want to say to the fans, sponsors?
Just honestly, it sucks. Like we performed really bad at the tournament. I hope you guys can keep supporting us because we're definitely looking to turn around in this LCS, like for sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem.